You know, his efforts as a talk show host transcended TV, transcended culture, transcended opinion. He was the guy that wasn't scared to look at the issues with a centrist approach, and he will be greatly missed. Phil Donahue, to many one of the greatest talk show hosts of all time, has passed away at 88. According to the Associated Press, he tackled numerous contemporary topics, including civil rights, abortion, same-sex parenting, and gender situations throughout America and Canada. Now, the pioneering daytime talk show launched a television genre that later made household names of Oprah, Montel Williams, Ellen DeGeneres, and many others. NBC's Today Show said Donahue died Sunday after a long illness. Dubbed the King of Daytime Talk, a numerous Daytime Emmy Award winner, he was the first to incorporate audience participation in a talk show, typically during a full hour with a single guest. When I mentioned that, he would have the guest on and get questions from the audience, no matter how inane. Just one guest per show, no band. He remembered being routinely asked in the 79 memoir, Donahue, My Own Story. The format set the Phil Donahue Show apart from other interview shows of the 60s and made it a trendsetter in daytime TV, where it was particularly popular with female audiences and teenagers. Now, later renamed Donahue, the program launched in Dayton, Ohio in 1967. His willingness to explore the hot-button social issues of the day emerged immediately when he featured atheist Madeline Murray O'Hare as his first guest. He will later air shows on feminism, homosexuality, consumer protection, and civil rights, among hundreds of other topics. The show was syndicated in 1970 and ran on national TV for the next 26 years, racking up 20 Emmy Awards for the show and for Donahue as host, as well as a Peabody for Donahue in 1980. Now, the show was not shown in most CBC affiliates in the 1970s and 80s on the east coast of Canada, but when Oprah came about, him and Geraldo and Oprah were the big 3 hours every day. Now, his shows included radio-style call-ins, which Donahue greeted with his signature, "Is the caller there?" The show's last episode aired in 1996 in New York, where Donahue was living with his wife, actress Marlo Thomas. He met Thomas, the That Girl star of the 60s, who was a household name at the time, and would later become a regular on Friends when she appeared on his show in 1977. And of course, they hit it off immediately. He later said it was love at first sight, but he did a poor job of hiding it on the air. "You're really fascinating," Donahue told Thomas, grasping her hand. "You are wonderful," Thomas said back. "You are loving and generous, and you like women, and it's a pleasure, and whoever the woman is in your life is very lucky." Now, the two have been married since 1980. Donahue had 5 children, 4 sons and a daughter from a previous marriage. He did return briefly to TV in 2002, hosting another Donahue show on MSNBC. The channel canceled after 6 months, citing low ratings. He was born Philip John Donahue on December 21st, 1935, part of a middle-class Irish Catholic family in Cleveland. Donahue was in the first graduating class of St. Edward High School, a Catholic all-boys prep school in Lakewood. In 1953, he got his papers and again eventually graduated from University of Notre Dame with a degree in business administration in 1957. He later rebelled against it and left the church, though he pointedly recalled in his book that a little piece of his faith will always be with him. Now, after a series of early jobs on radio and TV, Donahue was invited to move an earlier radio talk show to Dayton's WLMD TV station 67. It moved to Chicago in 74, where it stayed for years, then ended its run in New York. The show featured discussions with spiritual leaders, doctors, homemakers, activists, and entertainers or politicians who might be passing through town. He said striking upon the show's winning formula was a happy accident. Now, it may have been a full 3 years before any of us began to understand that our program was something special, he wrote. The show's style had developed not by genius, but by necessity. The familiar talk show heads were not available to us in Dayton. The result was improv. With an amiable style and a head of salt and pepper hair, he boxed with Muhammad Ali. He played football with Alice Cooper. His guests gave cooking lessons, taught breakdancing, and most controversial, described man-sharing, being a mistress, lesbian motherhood, or with the help of gathered video, that got shows banned in certain cities, how natural childbirth, abortion, or reverse vasectomies worked. A stop on Donahue became a must for important politicians, activists, athletes, business leaders, entertainers, from Hubert Humphrey to Ronald Reagan, Gloria Steinem to Anita Bryant, Lee Iacocca to Ray Kroc, and John Wayne to Farrah Fawcett. Now, the U.S.-Soviet bridge show with Vladimir Posner was a groundbreaking TV discussion series during the Cold War in the 1980s. Again, the U.S.-Soviet bridge featured simultaneously broadcasts from the States and the Soviet Union, where studio audiences could ask questions of one another. Donahue and Posner also co-hosted a weekly issues roundtable, Posner-Donahue, on CNBC in the 1990s. He also co-directed the documentary Body of War, which screened at TIFF in 2007 and also was nominated for an Academy Award. In May, U.S. President Joe Biden awarded Donahue the nation's highest civilian honor, the Presidential Medal of Freedom, at the White House. Now, Donahue's style, again, once you see it, you will always remember it, because he basically, not say he played stupid, but he was trying to understand, just like the audience, what it basically mean. Now, a lot of right-wingers didn't like the show very much because you couldn't control what was on the show. That's why Oprah and everybody else, like Ellen DeGeneres, even people like Mike Douglas, John Davidson, came before. He wouldn't use entertainment as the main draw of the show. For 5 days a week, there was going to be 5 different topics, like 2 or 3 controversial, 2 or 3 straight ahead. But something that's been passing the rounds recently, it was the round table of A Fish Called Wanda, where John Cleese and Palin and Klein and Jamie Lee Curtis showed their comedic talents. But Donahue was self-deprecating too. He once said on Canadian television, "I never thought in a million years it would get so out of control." When he's mentioned about this, it's like Donahue became a verb for things people either wanted to know about or things that people they thought shouldn't get to know about. There was no hold barred on the show. He had everybody on the show. Now, with Geraldo Rivera, he tried the same thing, but it was more like a shock version. With Donahue, sometimes reality is stranger than fiction. I remember when they had, I think it was like man babies and stuff like that. There's been some controversial episodes over the years. Now, what's kind of weird about this, there was an attempt to put the past episodes in syndication. I think they're out there someplace. It never came about. But Donahue, like I said, for years, he was not shown on most CBC stations across Canada until Oprah basically was around. But well before, Oprah said many times, I would not even have a talk show were it not for Phil Donahue. Every talk show host, even the current ones, and we still have talk shows in 2024, is due to the fact that Phil Donahue made it good. He took a Johnny Carson approach for daytime, but Johnny Carson is not a controversial talk show host. But Donahue took on subjects that either he believed in or didn't believe in and made them public no matter what it was. Like the old saying, throw the shit in the wall, whatever stinks. And I don't remember if the moral majority ever tried to get him banned, but they complain a lot. But the problem is the people on his show that were controversial, not him specifically. Just shining a light. And he didn't agree with everything. He made his mistakes too. He's a valuable talk show host, like with the Vince McMahon shows and all that. So Phil Donahue, you're going to be missed, brother. I know for a fact that most locations showed your talk show at 7 o'clock at night because of the mature themes. You'll never see a 7 o'clock talk show again. You were the best and the last, my brother. Anyway, you will be missed. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what we're doing here with our obituary tributes to those who have made a celebrity difference across the world, let us know with a like, comment, subscribe, or share. Bye.